Welcome back to the Final Fantasy VII MonoMod Challenge. It's good to see everybody. I'm so glad you're here on Twitch and on YouTube. It is good to see everybody. Today, we have a lot to talk about. We have a lot to do, so I'm going to go ahead and get started. If I remember correctly, we already beat... Oh, no, we're on the Turks, right? Is that true? Did we, let me see real quick. What was the very last thing we did? It was we did the submarine, right? Yada yada yada. Wait, this ain't right. Because we already did the other Turks, so this isn't the right save. I thought something was fishy. I wonder if Steam ripped my saves. Because we already did the Turks. We stole the stuff. I mean, this was like at the very end of our playthrough, though. So if that's the case, it only ripped like the very last part. Huh. That's weird, though. How could it only rip that and nothing else? No, not an entire day. Literally just the 2 Turk fights. So we'll just do the 2 Turk fights again. I think we're already set up to do this. We got steel and... Ooh. Give you the sneak glove. How did we do this last time? I think we just had Kate Sith tank everything. Yeah. I think we just made a really tanky Kate Sith, if I remember correctly. They must have... See what happened, since this is a new save file, it must have just deleted save 7 somehow. Like, I usually end these playthroughs and then go right into the save games in backup. It must have literally destroyed my game 7, or my save 7, like, right after we quit, right before I did the backup, so... I wonder... Hold on. Just out of curiosity. Let me see something real quick. Where... I do have a backup hard drive, and I don't know how many copies of stuff it saves. I have one literally every 3 days. On the 11th, on the 14th, on the 21st, on the 25th, on the 27th, on the 28th, on the 1st, on the 3rd, and then nothing for the last 2 weeks. What? Come on, computer. What's your problem? So I don't know. We got bamboozled. Either way, I don't mind doing these fights again. Just means more MonoMod content. So anyways, I had a lot to talk about today. First off, I wanted to talk about what we're doing next. Oh shoot, I forgot about all the confusion in this fight. A big problem. I think I do have the vaccine somewhere, yeah. So we were talking about what we're doing next, and I was thinking of not... I want to stay with Final Fantasy VII for a bit. People are really enjoying it, and I'm really enjoying it as well. And it goes well with like in-depth right now because I'm finishing up the rest of the Final Fantasy VII characters. Thank you for the resub. Psychosomatic with the 4-month resub. Thank you so much. Welcome back to the crew, my dude. And Stay the Dream also with the Tier 2 3-month resub. Thank you so much, my dude. Enjoy your brand new blue badge. And Wilt, thank you for the 100 bits as well. So I'm wanting to stay with Final Fantasy VII, but the next mod that we were thinking about doing was Scavenger Mod, which is my mod, and that's not going to be done for a while. So I was thinking maybe we take a break from this Final Fantasy VII, since we'll be going back to the Scavenger Mod later, and maybe we do something else Final Fantasy VII related. And since I just got a recordable PSP, hopefully, I was thinking maybe we do Crisis Core. And I said something about it last week, and a good amount of people jumped up and said, like, oh heck yes, we'd love you to do Crisis Core. So it sounds like something that everyone wants to see, so that's kind of where I'm leaning towards right now. I'm not like 5,000% sure, but that's where I'm leaning towards, because I think that would be cool. So that's that. Someone else also commented and said something about the mansion scene. There's a scene after you get Cloud back. If you go back to the Shinra mansion, you can see a little cutscene with Cloud and Zack, and it explains like what happened after the Nibelheim incident. And he wanted me to check that out because it actually talks a lot about what we were talking about last week. We were talking a lot about what happened to Cloud and Zack and soldier stuff and yada yada. So it'll be a good like refresher on that topic which we were talking about last week. I haven't seen it in a long time, so it'll be a nice refresher for me as well. It'll be nice for anyone that hasn't seen it at all. So that's something we'll do after this. We'll go check out that scene once we catch up. Do the rude fights again. What else? I think that was it in terms of the series. There was a couple things I wanted to talk about gaming in general. I wrote down a couple topics that I had thought about throughout the week that we could talk about, which is a good thing I did, because we have to do these fights over again, so it's perfect time to talk about stuff. So first off, let's talk about this bombshell. Literally yesterday, I think, if not, maybe it was the day before, and Reddit got the news late. But I saw it on Reddit yesterday. Sony is officially pulling out of E3 2019, which is interesting. A lot of people are speculating why. Sony themselves said this big long thing like, oh, we have all these plans for the future and yada yada, and we're just kind of changing things up. But a lot of people are saying that, see, like, it's like Sony seems to be saying that they're going to do their own conference, kind of like Nintendo Direct. But a lot of people are saying the real reason is that they just don't have anything to show, really. So instead of going up on the stage and being like BSing about stuff that's already released and showing teasers for stuff that aren't even close to being coming out, they're just not going at all. Which is kind of nice in a way. I mean, I'm glad they're not trying to BS us, but at the same time, this causes a lot of issues. For one, I wanted next year to potentially be the first time I ever go to E3, and now I'm just gonna straight up not go because Sony is like, I'm the Sony fanboy, I would go for Sony. So that kind of killed my E3 plans. But more importantly, does this like kill E3? Like, is this the beginning of the end for E3? I know that sounds crazy, but a lot of companies are doing this. Nintendo has Nintendo Direct now and usually doesn't really show a console or anything important at E3. Microsoft, who knows what the heck they're doing, if they're even staying in the game space, or if they're just going to have the Xbox One X, One X, One X, One X forever. I got to turn off my stupid dehumidifier because it's really loud. So, you know, Microsoft, who knows what they're doing in the game space. Blizzard has their own con. Sony now is pulling out. Like, what's left for E3? Like, why even go? I mean, I don't want to say why even go, because certainly there's still, like, good stuff at E3. Oh, God, please get away. Thank you. But it's... I mean, is this like the beginning and the end for E3? Is it going to get to the point where there's not really anything left at E3 that's different than just going to, you know, each individual company's conference? Square Enix, I have to feel like they're not going to show much at E3. They would rather show the stuff at Sony's conference, maybe. Maybe not, since now they're more multi-faceted, but... Let's be real, Square Enix hasn't shown anything worthwhile in like 10 E3s, so every E3, Square Enix comes out and they either make a bunch of promises that they never keep, or just don't show anything at all, like last year. Last year they showed nothing at all. The year before that, was that? I don't think that was the Final Fantasy VII Remake year, was it? Maybe it was. If it wasn't that, then they didn't show anything that year either. And then the year before that, they showed the remake, which turned out to be nothing. So, I mean, does anyone really care about Square Enix at E3? I don't. You got Bethesda, who always shows up at E3. So you got that, for sure. But, like, what else? Might as well just make E3 Bethesda's thing. Just call it Bethesda 3 now. This is the problem with being on wait. So I don't know, it's definitely interesting. The other thing that this whole Sony pulling out of E3 ordeal shows is that I was most likely right about my conjecture that the new Gen 6 consoles or whatever will not be shown. Do we have to go get the... I think we do have to go get the key. I made a comment because a lot of people were talking about like, oh, this year they're going to show the new gen consoles, and I made the comment like, I don't think they're going to this year because I just don't think there's much to show. 4K is already a thing with the Pro consoles. There's not really anything else other than VR, and they have their own consoles. The only thing they could show is like a VR dedicated console. And that, you know, like there's really, I mean, there's just not enough really new technology to show a new gen. And apparently I was right, because if Sony's pulling out of E3, then I gotta believe that they're probably not showing a console. At least not until they either E3 2020 or they start their own con, which they're for sure not doing this year or the beginning of next year. So, so yeah, like they're not showing a new. There's no way they're showing a new console anytime soon. Why would they need to be at E3 to show a console? Because that's where they always show consoles. I'd find it hard to believe that they would just like show a commercial about a new console. They would want to do it at a big show, and there's no show they're going to. Like, no, it doesn't have to be E3, but it certainly has to be a big thing, and they're not going to any big things now or in the near future. They had an idea for like a PlayStation Con or something, and they canceled that too. So if they are doing that in the future, it's not going to be now. It's going to be later. It's going to be like the end of 2019 or something. So, I mean, yes, it's true. They don't have to show a new console at a event, but it'd be pretty stupid not to. Like, what if they just announced, like, the PS5, and there was no one there to test it and no one there to play it, and they were just like, yeah, we're making this thing. Like, that would be a horrible idea. Thanks, Monster Hunter. Appreciate that, man. Thank you for the 101 Reckless. So yeah, it's interesting. I don't know exactly what they're planning, but it's definitely different. Let's do... Even though Sid doesn't have the best magic stat, I'm just gonna make Sid into Yuffie for the sake of easiness. For the sake of not having to redo all this. Why do I have two Ultimas? Just gonna do the same thing here pretty much. See you, General. Thanks for coming by, man. I mean, if they're not having a press conference, it'd be pretty silly for them to have a stand-in anyways. Like, I don't think they're going to be there at all. I mean, they might be there for, like, hey, test our games, but why would they have a big, like, they wouldn't release a console and not have a press conference. Like, sure, they could definitely have someone there, but they're not going to announce anything if they don't have a press conference. Kind of the point of a press conference. You can type !setup to see everything I have, Daz McLeod. And yes, I have a Switch. I got one just this year. For, the beginning of last year, actually. Or the end of last year. For my birthday. No. It was the end of this year. I can't math. It's literally a couple months ago. I got one for my birthday. Yo, look at the 777 bits there, bro. Appreciate it, my man. How's it going, Knock? So yeah, it's definitely like, I don't really know if it's a good or bad move by Sony, but it's just interesting. I didn't expect that at all. Like, it's just weird. Like, you don't expect that to happen. You expect everyone to be there because they have been forever, so it's just a weird thing to have happen. Guess we'll see how it goes. No, !setup, not !console. Yes, we're redoing the sub and Rocket Town because I guess Steam killed my save. Steam did the dirty. We're actually pretty fortunate that it only deleted save 7, the very most recent save, and we're fortunate that we had just rolled over to save 7 when we quit last time. If we had rolled over to save 7 at the beginning of last time, then we'd be doing everything all over. That would stink. I'm very proud of you, Craig. Should have put my vaccines up top. Spyro's later, lass. After this, we'll be playing Spyro. I'm really excited to play Spyro. I'm going to do something a little different than what I normally do. Normally when a new game comes out that I'm excited for, we just kind of play it on stream casually and enjoy it. But I think what I'm going to do this time, because I'm kind of a, I don't know if I want to say expert, but I know my way around Spyro. I grew up with Spyro. I just recently did a marathon of every single Spyro game ever made, 100%ed all of them. And I also know quite a bit of movement tech as well. I never speedran the game, but I knew someone that did speedrun the game, and I learned some of the speed tech for fun. So I know quite a bit about Spyro, the speedrunning scene, and all the games, you know, in the series. So what I'd like to do is I'd like to do kind of an in-depth analysis of the remake. Instead of just playing it, I'd like to actually talk a lot about it and what they changed and what they didn't change, and then maybe even like put it on YouTube. So that's kind of my plan for this afternoon. I think that would be fun. We're just going to do the first game because I know I can do the entire first game in a few hours. I could do the original in like an hour and a half, but seeing as though it's the remake and I'll be taking my time, it'll probably take longer than that. But yeah, I think that would be fun. And also, for those of you on YouTube that maybe have not heard, I did get Twitch Partner last Friday. It was after Final Fantasy though, so you guys didn't see it on YouTube. I've already said so much, so there's not much else to say, but thank you so much to everyone on YouTube, because you did, you know, inadvertently help me get to where I am now with Twitch. And yeah, it's just been an incredible blessing. Something I've worked on for 2 years, and something that I was afraid like was never gonna happen, or just, you know, awaiting the day that it finally happened. So it's been quite a crazy week. As long as he doesn't do... Okay, well he did. I was gonna say as long as he doesn't do 3 of those in a row, but he did. Thank you, Stay the Dream. Appreciate it, man. I appreciate that a lot. Can you stop? Like, as long as he doesn't do a bunch of these in a row, I'm fine. And 2 times in a row, he's done 3 in a row. All I need to do is steal the Zydric, and then we're good. So, that was the first thing I want to talk about with Sony, just because that's pretty crazy. The next thing I want to talk about... He's really doing this again. 3 times in a row. 3 times in a row, he's done 3 in a row. That's magic. I just need 1 turn to steal. Thank you. Hopefully I'm fast enough. Nope. Gonna have to throw a spider web at him so I have enough time to steal. So the next thing I want to talk about was Fallout 76, because what a interesting time to be alive, right? When they announced Fallout 76, and keep in mind I'm not a huge Fallout fan. Yo, Reckless! Thank you so much for the 1,001 bits, my dude. It's good to see you again. It's been a hot minute. It's really good to see you, dude. Thank you for the support. Oh, you're kidding. So when they first announced Fallout 76 at E3 last year, I was pretty hesitant, as with, you know, everyone else. Okay, this is kind of a risk, because if he throws 3 of those Grand Slams, I'm dead. Okay, we're good. Everyone was hesitant, but then they were like, I don't know, this could work, let's see. And I think the idea was there, but man, did they really screw it. First of all, it's like an online Fallout 4. A lot of people are saying yo, Whit, thank you for the 17-month resub, dude. Appreciate that so much. It's all good you being late. Can you not heal? So, like, it's an online Fallout 4. A lot of people are saying that it's worse than Fallout 4 because there's not as much NPC interaction. And it's more just, like, getting all the information from the tapes. That I don't know about because I'm not a huge Fallout fan. I didn't even play Fallout 4. I played Fallout 3. But just saying that, you know, that's kind of the general consensus I got from reading posts about it. But, like, even if it's just a worse Fallout 4, I could understand them trying the online thing and failing. Like, that's not something that I would be upset about. If a game company tries something new and it just doesn't work out, then, hey, it didn't work out. Like, you know, it happens. No big deal, right? What truly baffles me, though, and what really, like, is upsetting everybody is the state of the game is less than playable. And it's worrying me because there's been this continuing trend of companies releasing games and then just finishing them after they're released. And we've talked about it many times, and it seems like companies are not learning from their mistakes, and they are continuing to release games that are unfinished, and then just fixing them via patches. And Fallout 76 seems to be the shining turd example. People are saying, like, it's so, like, they're saying it's so bad that it's almost obvious that they actually didn't have the game finished and decided to release it. Like, that's how bad they're saying it is. They're saying, like, it's so bad that they're pretty certain there was a decision made to release it not being finished. I mean, like, Napaz, our buddy who does some game reviews on the side, he's an indie game reviewer. I jumped on his stream, and the title of his stream was Fallout 76, Let's Try Not to Glitch This Time, or something like that. And, like, that's when you know it's bad, when, like, the reviewers stream is like, let's try to get through the game without it breaking. Like, that's bad. That's when you're, like, in no-fly territory. Yeah, I mean, there's a difference between, like, unfinished and, like, straight up not working, and it seems like almost everybody is just dealing with an absolute mountain of glitches and breaks in the game. So I don't know what to think about it. I mean, we've been through this conversation before. When does it stop? When do we finally get to the point where companies are like, okay, we can't do this anymore? Yeah, I don't know. I was talking to my cousin the other day, and he was saying that he thinks like a big gaming revolution is coming soon. He thinks that within the next couple months, or maybe like sometime next year, there's going to be a point where the fans just break and decide like we're not buying AAA games anymore until they fix their crap. We saw it kind of with Battlefront, with the whole loot box scandal. But to be honest with you, I don't think that's gonna happen. To me, I think that the current game space is going to exist for a very long time. I think we're actually, like, I think actually the contrary. He thinks that there's going to be a big revolution soon. I think that we're stuck in a never-ending loop that's going to just go forever. What's the passcode? Circle Square XX. I think that for a very long time, AAA companies are going to make really bad but popular games that the teenage, young adult range are going to buy. I think that indie companies are going to continue to make games for niche groups. I think companies like Naughty Dog and some of these other companies that are making remakes are going to continue to make I think AAA companies are going to keep making like big popular games for the teenagers. Indie companies are going to keep making games for the niche groups. Companies like Naughty Dog and remake companies are going to keep making games for our generation, the older generation. And I think that's just going to keep... I think everyone's happy with what is going on in their respective areas, and I don't think it's going to change for a very long time. Relaxed Kid, thank you so much for the Tier 2 sub. Appreciate it, my man. Good to see you back. Welcome back to the crew, man. Enjoy the brand new 4.8 emotes. And your green materia badge. But yeah, I mean, AAA companies are going to keep making games just for money, and teenagers are going to eat it up. Indie companies are going to keep doing what they do. I mean, I just don't think anything's really going to change, because there's no need for it to change. Everyone's making their money, so. The cardboard CD. You talking about Spyro? How there's like nothing on the CD? I don't know. That's annoying, but I don't think it's really detrimental to anyone. It's just annoying because you can't put in the game and play it right away. But like, I downloaded all my stuff pretty quickly, but I have really good internet. Oh, Fallout 76? Why, does it just not have a CD at all? Spyro, people are mad because Spyro, only Spyro 1 is on the disc. And Spyro 2 and 3 you have to download. Yo, SJ, thank you so much for the sub, my man. Welcome to the crew. Enjoy those beautiful 4.8 emotes and the green materia badge. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Does the, it's almost like false advertising, you know? Thank you so much for the 1,000 bits, SJ. Thank you, dude. Can I get some foam fingers in the chat for SJ, the sub, and the 1,000 bits? Thank you so much, dude. I appreciate it. Really, really happy to have you here. Like, I mean, like Spyro 3, or Spyro, right? Like, on the front of the box, it literally says, includes 3 games, you know, and it's called the Reignited Trilogy, and I bought this box, like, with all of it. So, like, to me, when I open this up, I should be able to plop the game, which is currently in my PS4, plop the game into the PS4, and this, whatever's in this box should play like what's on the box, you know? It should have 3 games on it. It shouldn't be something I have to download. Like, it doesn't bother me, really, but if you think about it, it's kind of false advertising. It should play what it says. Also, can I make one little remark while I have it in my hand? Does the side of this box not look like a kindergartner like drew it? I'm not impressed with this box. I kind of like the art on the front. Like, the art on the front's okay, and the art on the back is like okay. I don't really like this, but I looked at this and I kind of hated it. Like, I hate looking at this on my shelf. It looks really ugly. It's just like white with like what looks like Microsoft Word font. Focus camera. Oh, there it went. I got something about it. It just looks ugly. I don't know. Maybe I'm crazy, but it looks ugly to me. I got all these other games that look like awesome on my shelf, and then Spyro looks gross. Anyways. Thanks, C-Pelt. Appreciate that, man. Yes, you do have to download it. Only Spyro 1 is on the disc. Spyro 2 and 3 come off the download. So I don't know. It's just, I imagine a world where my internet goes out for a week, and I'm like, oh man, my internet went out. You know, I should go out and buy a game or something to keep myself busy for the next week because I have no internet. And I go to the GameStop and I see Spyro and I'm like, let's play Spyro. That'll be fun to play for a week. And I get home and I plop it in and I can only play Spyro 1. And not only can I only play Spyro 1, but I can only play patch 1.0 Spyro 1, which is probably awful because if we learned anything from, you know, this conversation we're having, you know, games aren't really polished anymore until they release and the first couple of 1,000 people play it. So probably patch 1.02 is like an actual, you know, good version of the game, and I'm playing like the poopy 1.0 version. So I don't know. It's frustrating, for sure. Okay, so let's take a quick detour and watch this scene. As I said before, we're gonna watch this scene just for fun. Now that we're caught up. Yeah, I don't know. It's just things are changing. That's for sure. I think what really frustrates me is the thank you for the Twitch Prime sub, D-Bowl. Appreciate it a lot. Welcome to the crew. Enjoy this the 4-8 emotes. I keep saying foam finger emotes, but now we got all sorts of emotes. The 4-8 emotes. I like how it's still playing Vincent's theme. So here's the flashback scene. I'll continue my thought in a second. So there's Cloud and Zack being aliens, I guess. That's a really cool picture because that doesn't exist anywhere else. He somehow feeds them in this tube. Like, what the heck? And then Zack's like, I'm free! One thing I never noticed about this scene is Cloud is in his uniform. This actually gives you like a... Well, I get you already know by now. But, you know. If you were to somehow see this scene before you got Cloud back, it would actually give you a hint as to the truth. But you can't see this until after you get Cloud, so... It smells a little, but don't complain. You look pretty good with that. Then there's this nice truck scene, which is also not seen anywhere else. Shut up. And random chocobo music. Guess that's out. I need some money. I'm not sure if there's really an explanation as to why Zack is totally okay here and Cloud is completely gone. As far as I know, without having played enough of Dirge of Cerberus or Crisis Core, but knowing like how things go, I don't know if there's ever a discussion as to whether or not the experiments that Hojo does on Zack is different than the experiments he does on Cloud. Both of them get defeated by Sephiroth, but Zack's is a little different. Zack just kind of gets like slashed away, whereas Cloud gets straight up impaled. And Zack's also used to it, true. Zack is used to it because he was a soldier, whereas Cloud isn't. So, where they both got, as far as I understand, they both got Genova cells from Hojo and Mako poisoning from Hojo, but Zack had already had Mako poisoning from being a soldier, so he was at least okay with half of it. You know, the Genova cells maybe not so much, but the Mako poisoning he had already been through, whereas Cloud hadn't been through any of it. Although someone had said that they thought that everyone in Shinra had been given like some Mako, but even if that's true, it's obviously not as much as the soldiers get. Zack's also more powerful, true. Hey, old guy, what do you think I'd be good at? What are you yapping about? You folks should try, young folks should try everything. This guy knows what he's talking about. There's the patented Zack maneuver. This is interesting because he's talking out loud about becoming a mercenary. So this is probably where Cloud gets the idea when he gets dropped off in Midgar. Mercenaries, that's what you and me are gonna be. So violent. Totally fitting. Why does that guy walk so weird with his gun? This is yet another scene that isn't shown anywhere else in the game. This scene's really cool because it shows so much. Like, a lot of the flashback scenes just use stuff we've already seen or use areas we've already seen. This has like 4 completely unique areas that are only in this cutscene that's totally optional. Including this shot, which is a really cool shot. So that probably gives you a little bit of a better idea as to why Cloud becomes Zack. He hears Zack talking about a lot of his plans as he's like, you know, screwed up in the head, and then watches Zack die right in front of him and then takes his sword. So yeah, really cool scene. I haven't seen it in a long time. Maybe it's new for some of you guys. I highly recommend you check it out next time you play through the game. All you have to do is come down to the Shinra Mansion after you get Cloud back from Medeal. See you, Dr. Crucicles. Yeah, it's a really great scene. Probably one of the best scenes in the game, to be honest, especially because of all the unique areas. And it's really the only time you see Zack's model do much at all. If I'm not mistaken, that's the only place that Zack talks, too. He might talk during, like, one of the flashbacks for a second. But that's, you actually like, get some of his personality there. So, yeah. I agree. It shows off a lot of his personality. So anyways, what I was talking about before we started that scene. One of the things that really frustrates me about today's game space is the move to digital games. I've talked about it before, but while we're talking about the fact that Spyro only has one game, you know, under its belt on the disc, and then you have to download the other 2 games, I'm getting really frustrated with games that only have digital versions. And furthermore, it's very frustrating to see a lot of games that have physical versions push the digital version so hard. And granted, I understand why they do it, because it makes them money to sell the digital version and not the physical, but I hate, like, oh, it's so bad. Like, especially, I remember the biggest one I remember is buying Black Ops 2, I believe it was, yeah. Black Ops 2 had a zombies map that was only available on the digital version, and zombies is like 90% of the reason I play COD. at least anymore. So it was very important to me to get that map, and so I had to buy the digital version. I had no other choice, and that sucked because I have all, because I used to be a big Call of Duty player, I have all of the Call of Duty games from 4 and above, like all the special editions, and they're nice boxes, and I have them all like laid out so you can see all the boxes next to each other, and I have like the physical medals that come with the boxes, like all the special edition bonuses. I have them all like lined up and looking all nice and fancy, and then Black Ops 2 just not even there because I had to get the digital version. I think eventually I did get a physical version like used, but when I first bought it, I had nothing to show. I just had the digital version. Couldn't even like take it to a friend's house and be like, let's play some zombies. I don't think it's just our generation. It's definitely part of it. You know, it's definitely... I think we're a little behind the times. Like, we still want physical versions, and most kids nowadays are totally fine with digital games. I mean, it's not just games. It's everything. We like physical media a lot, whereas the younger generation, they're fine with digital media. But that's definitely not always the case. There's plenty of people that would rather have the physical copies, and especially just for obvious things like being able to take it to your friend's house and being able to let them borrow the game and all that. Like, there's definitely reasons where you'd want the physical other than just to look at it. Kind of interesting. Getting master materia on this in this mod would be a lot easier, since it starts you off with everything. You would just have to master everything you have, except summon, obviously. I also still get Game Informer in the mail, which I actually like Game Informer a lot more now. I used to hate them. I used to think they were like so terribly biased, but lately they've been a lot better.